JKB back with another episode. Today in the show I'm reviewing Mission Impossible Fallout. If you like what I've done by the end of the video, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button down below. Let's talk about the fact that Tom Cruise has now done how many action films? 5 million action films. How do you do something in a film now when everything ever has ever been done? Well, here's the idea. You jump out of a plane, and it's called a halo jump, where you basically open your parachute with 2,000 feet before you hit the ground, or you learn how to fly a helicopter and shoot all of the helicopter scenes in the film yourself. Like literally Tom Cruise in a helicopter alone with cameras, the director in another helicopter watching Tom Cruise do what he's doing in the helicopter. It's like, okay, that's how you top it. So in terms of the stunts, I'll say right off the bat, you're not going to see anything like this in any other film in terms of realistic stunts. Of course, the stunts are very, very safe. However, Tom Cruise is flying the helicopter. He is jumping out of an airplane. He is on rooftops. He's very safe doing that, and they do add special effects like he jumps out of a plane through a thunderstorm. That's spectacular. Of course, they didn't do that in real life, but they added the thunderstorm after. So it's to take that into accountability is like, yeah, okay, Tom Cruise gets what he needs to do and he wants it to be real on screen, and I'm still in shock with what I saw in the film. The stunts are incredible. Now let's get that out of the way, because we go into a film like this because we want to be on the edge of our seat. We want twists, we want turns, we want stunts, we want amazing music, and we want huge set pieces. We want this to be epic. We want him to go around the world. We want him to go on adventures and doing all these secret missions and all that stuff. All of that takes place in this film. And as a fan of film, they do it in a way that I consider to be a little bit more respectable. Yes, it's a summer blockbuster film, but they're doing it with respect. The script is very, very well written. The twists and turns are so out of the blue. You kind of get a sense that maybe something could happen, but then it doesn't happen, but then it does happen, and you realize films these days have a very hard time trying to trick the audience, to keep you guessing on what's going to happen in the film. And like I said, no spoilers here, so I'm not going to get into detail of what the twists and turns are in the film. I'm just going to simply say I haven't been in a film forever and thought, oh my god, I didn't see that coming, or I didn't know that would happen. To surprise me as a film goer, that's ridiculous. It doesn't happen. I watch so many movies that I see everything. I'm like, okay, I've seen this. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. This film kept me guessing right until the last scene of the film, and I'm so impressed with that. Let's talk about the music, the score itself. The music in terms of like actual artists and bands and playing, there really isn't anything like that. So if you're thinking this is gonna be like Limp Bizkit's gonna show up and down, 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 they don't do that, thank God. They took it in the Dark Knight route. So the Dark Knight, as you know, is one of the best, well, comic book films ever made, but also it includes some of the best music ever written for a film. The score in the Dark Knight was so captivating that clearly the person who did the music for Mission Impossible Fallout is taking huge steps to sound exactly like the Dark Knight. Is that a bad thing? Well, it's not going to be a negative to the film, but it's not very original to just steal music from another movie. I'm not saying that they just ripped it off, because it is still Mission Impossible. I'm just saying it's the same. Like, it's literally the same tempo, it's the same ideas, it's the same instruments. It's hard to say that they didn't rip it off, but I'm just gonna say it's too close for comfort for me, but it works because it's so brilliant. Let's get on to the supporting cast of characters that Tom Cruise has around him. You know, it's hard to talk about that without getting into spoilers, so I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to say that Simon Pegg is in the film to be the comedy. It works. I just don't want to spoil anything for you. I'll just say the supporting cast does an amazing job. They really do hold the film together when Ethan is not on screen, but Tom Cruise is basically in every scene. And every one of these films that are about a bad guy versus a good guy, save the world, the bad guy always has to be on the same level in terms of acting and even just his screen presence as the hero. And if that is not on the same balance, the film never really works. That's why The Dark Knight is so good, because, well, Heath Ledger is brilliant in that role, and arguably, Christian Bale is okay in the movie, but I mean, I can clearly say that, the Joker in that movie is the best villain of all time, in my personal opinion. How do you top that? That's tough to do when you have something that is so powerful. When you look at the screen, it's glowing off. It's going into your soul. You feel it. You're terrified. And in this film, you kind of get that sense. It's less about the villains and more about what they're doing that scares you in the film. And I'll say this much, you are left guessing until the very last moments of the movie if they're going to succeed or not. And the suspense will put you on the edge of your seat. There was a moment in this movie where you could hear a pin drop because it was so intense that nobody wanted to breathe. I really looked around me and thought, oh my god, I haven't seen a movie do this forever. So, in closing, let's go over the good and bad of the film. The action is incredible. The best you're gonna ever see on film until Tom Cruise decides to do the next Mission Impossible movie. How is he gonna top it? I've got no idea. The acting is very well done. I feel like the director did an amazing job directing this film. He really understood what he needed to do. And in terms of having a style to the film, I think this is the cleanest, the smoothest, it's like, I don't know what the word would be. I'd say the word classy comes to mind. I'm not going to bring up James Bond, but I'm getting more of a sense that this guy loves James Bond. The director really wanted to get the essence of a Bond film, but kind of put it into the Mission Impossible universe. But don't get me wrong, it's not like he's walking around looking at ladies and, he's not all, woo. He's more just like down to earth in this film, and he's just like oozing Ethan. He does an amazing job capturing the essence of who Ethan Hunt is, but not blowing it out of proportion and like jumping off roofs because it looks cool. It just comes together to create a really amazing action film. The score, like I said, is kind of ripped off of The Dark Knight. There's no doubt about it. And lastly, I'll go with the cinematography, saying it's the best you're going to see in a Mission Impossible film. They're doing things in this film that you have to see on the big screen. I really recommend you go check this film out if you haven't seen it. It's one of those things that I'll watch over and over. It's going to feel like a classic to a lot of people, and some of the best fight scenes. And let's just talk about Superman and his fight scenes. There's a very famous meme going around where, we'll just call him Superman. He walks into the scene and he reloads his arms. What he's actually doing is kind of getting the cuffs off of his wrist because he's about to get into a fight in the film. But there's something about him, I can't put it down, but I don't feel like he's a really good actor in this film, and he's one of the dullest parts. I'm kind of disappointed to say that. He's the weakest link in the film. He's well written. I feel like they should have got somebody who's more of a character actor and not just like a very big name. Like, just don't get Superman, get somebody else. He's the weakest link of the film, but even as the weakest link of the film, it's still really good and on par with the past films in terms of his acting. So in closing, I don't really have too much negative points. I mean, I feel like the score is a ripoff of The Dark Knight, and if you don't agree with me, fight me in the comments, but that's the truth. I just think we might have one of the best action films ever made, period, ever. So please go check it out in the theater, support this man, because Tom Cruise is going to do another one, and I bet you it's going to be just as crazy because now he understands what he needs to do. So if you like what I did in this review, please subscribe and hit the like button. I'll see you in the next episode of JKB.